I use a strap to hold this old traditional method, to hold the shoe into place so I can use both hands at the same time. French hammer is used to work when you sit on a low chair using traditional methods. When you hit, the hand goes past the body, and so you can hit square onto the material. Now, the holes, punching the holes, the awl is held on a slight angle inwards to make sure that you don't miss the inner sole. Also, don't, when you get to this point, don't get too close to the outside edge of the shoe. It's enough to go into the last itself, because later you only use small needles or some other means of stitching, so the holes have to be big enough. Inside sewing, where the stitching is done right through the inner sole. This is a very old method of fixing the sole to the upper or to the shoe itself by stitching right through the inner sole. This method is looks very complicated and difficult, but in fact it's not, because when you think, if you have a pointed type of shoe, you have to be able to put your hand through and to do the stitching, you'll think it's almost impossible. Well, I'll show you how this is done. First of all, on the thread, there are tapered ends on the thread, and they are threaded into a very small needle. This needle is number 6 harness needle, which has been softened over a flame until it's red hot. That's why I can bend it in any direction I want, or use a strike if I want. So in this case, the needle is always slightly bent. Now, when you reach a point where you can't stitch normal stitching, you take the outside needle, push it through, and pick it up with your hand, and keep pulling until you have enough loop left so you can put your hand under. Then pick up this thread the way it is, and hold it. Take the inside thread, take the needle, and push the needle through the thread itself, like this. And pull it approximately 10 millimeter past the thread. So bend it back towards the needle, towards this needle, and give it a good twist. So the thread almost becomes part of the existing thread that we threaded before. So you don't have too much thickness here. And start pulling. We pull it through, take the needle out, and there we are. This is the first stitch is completed. You always work on wet sole, that's another point. So the sole can be pulled into position without too much force. Same thing, pushing the outside needle through, pick it up, leave enough that you can pull back, and the same thing. Put the other needle through with a little bit of thread on the end. Now, this is one method what I have shown you using the needles, but you could be working on a shoe which has got a very pointed toe, or very high up here, or even children's shoe where you can't put your hand in. If you come to that, then I'll show you a different method that you can use. For that method, you don't need the needles. You take the needles out completely. Take a piece of fuse wire. The best wire you'll find is about 20 amps fuse wire, which I have doubled and twisted in a couple of places to hold it together, and created a little loop on the end of the wire. All I do now is I work in reverse. I push the wire through the hole until that loop is exposed for me, and I simply thread the inside end of the thread into that wire loop and pull it on the other side. Once I get it to that point, then take an awl or open the thread, but make a hole so big enough to make it easy for you to put the thread in. And just put this end of the thread through that. And use the same method as we did before by squeezing it and pulling it the other way around. The whole situation is simply reversed. It still does the same job. I'll do it once again so you can see it there again. The wire is soft and the wire follows the shape of the shoe, so you don't need any force at all.